We've already had plenty this week, so we'll watch for some tough drives out there on the roadway. But this really is an amazing stat for you, Memphis. Last weekend without rain, so you're taking one of the 2 days or perhaps both, December 30th, 31st of 2017. 27.68 inches of rain so far this year. You're 10 inches above average. And I'm sure if you think about it, it feels very true. We do have some good news on the horizon for this weekend, so that is definitely a positive. But what a mess it has been for you this morning. The heavy rain just kind of sitting there, parking itself over the city. That ride along 55 and I-40 towards Nashville, not the nicest too. You're running into some heavy rain too outside of Nashville. Notice that it is on the light side in Nashville right now, but where you see the sort of the shades of yellow and orange, that's some pretty steady heavy rainfall. And again, it's sort of just parking itself in some of these spots. So just watch out. Give yourself lots of extra time, plenty of distance between you and the car ahead of you. Trust me, that makes all the difference. Gives you a little extra stopping room. We head to Birmingham, also a mess of a morning drive. You've had periods of that heavy rain. You have another wave headed your way, and if you time it out again, this is going to be probably for that early lunch hour. So again, just heads up there. We head down to the Gulf, and so far we're dry from Pensacola to Destin, Panama City, but Biloxi, Mobile, of course, New Orleans, you're looking at some wet conditions out there right now. Not a ton of thunder and lightning just yet, but we expect that as the day goes on, that is going to change. We have a little energizing boost that's going to be swinging on through. Can you see it? It's like this right upper hook, and that's enough to drive that cold front through, but it's also enough once the front moves on by that we'll see the possibility of some of those showers and thunderstorms still, even as we get into the afternoon. And some amazing stats there too. And we are looking ahead to the possibility of some severe weather today. It's going to be one of those days. You just want to make sure you have the alerts on. Lots of after school activities and practices, I'm sure. I know I'll be one of those moms watching the radar very carefully to see how things will play out later today. But there's the risk area all the way from Columbus, Georgia, Macon up towards Charlotte, even Greensboro, North Carolina, Columbia as well. Primary threats, maybe some hail and some damaging winds. So we have some of the ingredients in place to give us that idea that, yeah, there may be some of those stronger thunderstorms. We have upper level disturbance that's pushing off to the south and east. Again, that's that little punch that's allowing the surface air to rise very quickly and produce some thunderstorms. But we also have that cold front sweeping on through. Low level moisture is there. And so again, it's not off the charts bonkers for severe weather, but we cannot rule it out. So we time it out. And for a city like Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia, think about lunchtime. If you plan on heading out, Nashville, you're still in it. Memphis as well, keeping the shower threat through at least the afternoon, and starting to see things wind down a little bit apparently there, Birmingham and into Montgomery, but between say now and the early evening hours you could still see a pop-up thunderstorm, and then you see everything begin to clear and make its way tomorrow morning to the mid-Atlantic coast. By the time all is said and done, we're looking at anywhere for about an inch of rain, maybe a little less, some spots with those bigger thunderstorms and more persistent rain, maybe more like 1 to 2. Again, doesn't sound like a lot, but more is more at this point, and we already have some pretty saturated ground, something to keep in mind. So Memphis for you really is the first half of the day. That's some good news. The clouds will take a little bit of time, but by this evening, even towards tonight, you may actually get some breaks in that overcast, and temperatures will be into the 50s. It looks like a little bit of a sunnier break for tomorrow to start your Friday. Birmingham as well, looks like midday to the early afternoon, the best chance to see showers and storms. Had some benefits. Lake Lanier, a water source for the parts of the Atlanta metro, above full pool, which is not all that usual, but we do have the risk today and into tonight with the wet weather that some of those thunderstorms that do develop could be on the stronger side from Columbus, Macon, Augusta, all the way up towards Charlotte, Greenville, and Columbia. And again, timing is key here too, as a lot of this will be coming either for the lunch hour or as we get into the evening rush time frame. We head up along the Gulf Coast, and Biloxi, it's your turn to see some of the wet weather. Nothing crazy going on. Mobile as well. You can see New Orleans getting a little bit drier in the French Quarter. Birmingham, though, you still are in the thick of it right now, so if you are thinking about that early lunch hour outing, you'll still need the umbrella. Chattanooga as well, if you're driving up 24 or 65 towards Nashville, you are also still seeing some of those showers, but you hop on 40 out towards Memphis, and yeah, there we still see the showers rotating there, and that yellow indicating that's a pretty decent steady rainfall there too, and it's been like that most of the morning. We have a little power coming to this whole setup here. You can see see it with the water vapor imagery beautifully. It's like a pow right up her hook, and that cold pool is going to be enough to keep that instability around, that even when the front comes on by, there's still enough out there to produce some showers and thunderstorms. But yes, the whole story is that it is all moving off to the east. So again, timing it out from Birmingham, Nashville, Knoxville, Chattanooga, we have those showers, even a few thunderstorms possible as we get into the afternoon. Here we are at the lunch hour, moving into Atlanta as well as Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte too by the evening rush. So watch as well into Nashville. Still not quite dry. That happens after midnight. In fact, many of us get that chance to not only dry out, but see some of the breaks in the overcast, which means some spots of sun for tomorrow. Adding it all up, we have maybe as much as an inch of rainfall. The darker shades of green, more like 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. Again, considering how unsettled it's been this week and really the last couple, this ground is really saturated. So just watch for that ponding on the roadway. Any more rainfall is going to be more and could lead to some driving concerns. Memphis, the good news is, you see the sun icon. It looks like a pretty decent evening. We just have to get through a few more hours of the rainfall and temperatures into the 60s. Birmingham as well. You're pretty socked in right now, but later on today should be getting a little bit better, especially towards the evening. It is ramping up.
It's trying.
It's trying. It's trying. Maybe a little delayed for some, but it is on the way. Boy, this map said a lot.
Yeah, you can kind of see where it's starting and where it's coming from, and that's in the high plains and the Rockies, Maria, right over there. I love those colors. They kind of match your dress.
They do. I'm forecasting with my.
That's right.
You're a little bit more moderate.
I'm playing it neutral.
You're close to average.
Yeah. I'm a bastion of average, really, is what it amounts to. But yes, this warm air is moving that way, and it's going to be coming not just this weekend, but over the next couple of days. So I think we're really staring down several days, maybe a weeks-long event where it's going to actually feel like May.
Yeah, and a gentle reminder, this is not a high temperature contour. This is how much of a departure from average. But as you point out, this time of year, our average highs are getting pretty comfortable. So being above average can get pretty toasty. Yeah,
I remember tweeting this out a couple days ago thinking that, okay, well, the models, if you just looked at them like verbatim, there are a lot of numbers that are popping out. They're like, really? Right. I didn't know the atmosphere had this in it. Like lots of 70s and 80s and yes, 90s. I'm like, I forgot those numbers even existed.
Right, and then you check your watch or your calendar, like, oh yeah, it is that time of year that can happen.
I like this, Maria. I don't know about you, but lots of warmth for the Northeast, yes, all the way from Maine down to Florida, practically some cooling in the west with an upper trough, but this is going to stick around for a while. Not forever, you know, it'll kind of go up and down, but going through the first week in May, the Climate Prediction Center says, yep, we do think it is more likely than not to be warmer than average across that part of the country.
And as much as this is welcomed, I'm thinking that a little bit of a cool down will help where it has been so warm and dry in the Southwest.
Yeah, it kind of balances its way out. Right. I mean, that's kind of how Mother Nature works, you know, up and down like that. Let's look at a couple of cities. Maria, New York, average high 65. 80s, how about that? Right?
With sunshine, so that is a nice, useful 80s right there. Find your spot in Central Park right now and claim it.
And don't
all
leave.
of New York will be out there.
All right, stay there. One more city real quick, Atlanta in the southeast. So the northeast and the southeast, trying to get those two parts of the country in. Not so bad, warming up to mid-70s and low 80s.
All right, and again, with sunshine, so a nice payoff here for all the soggy weekends we've had in the last month or so. That's your happy face. Yeah.